5, 4, 3.
We good? Hello. I'm Buffet Time, and I'm here with,
Or a boy.
and we're just gonna get this started right now. Uh, I'll tell you guys when to start the timer. It's actually a little bit specific. It's right when we start moving. That should be right when we start the timer. But I'll also note it off. So starting off here, we just have to wait through this little like intro cutscene thing. And so while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna look over here to the right. Well, I'm gonna get ready to look over here to the right. And the reason I'm doing this is so once this game is about to load us into the first map, if I'm looking over a bit to the right, then this play space, which is this green area, will be facing in the direction that I want it to be, so then I can move however I need to.
Yeah, the game always wants to face you at the Citadel so you can see it.
Yeah, because then you get to see all the cool stuff. So now I'm gonna look over here a little bit to the right, and there we go. Now also, or do you want to quickly explain what this green stuff we're seeing on screen is?
So the green lines that you're seeing and then the circle you may see on the ground is his boundaries in real life. So part of this run is, of course, making sure that you don't actually run into things IRL. So we have
and
things that allow us to
time
keep
start
these,
now.
Yeah, we have things that allow us to keep these borders up so that we can always tell where we are in the room. And then the circle is just where the center of the room is. So the first thing he's doing here is called an extended jump, which is this balcony here, or this wall, is actually like a full wall up. You can't teleport over it. There's an invisible wall. So he's doing an extended jump, which allows him to pause the game, teleport, and then walk forward, and then he'll be able to go through it. Seems to be... Oh, there we go.
There we go. That was a little weird.
There. Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. Also,
So,
okay, you can keep going. Sorry.
The two big things you're going to see are extended jumps to go through walls and height adjusts to go through floors and ceilings, and that allows us to get out of bounds in pretty much any area. Now, right here, you're going to see him teleport very fast. Oh, wait, sorry, no, I forgot. We do something new here now. We used to kind of go around just quickly and go up the stairs, but now we can just make it up on this balcony and pass by this area.
Yeah, so if you guys saw the SGDQ run, actually, you would have noticed that that's a little bit different. But that saves a little bit of time, so we're going for it.
When he was on the roof there and he was teleporting fast, that's what I was about to talk about. It's something we're able to do with Steam VR bindings, where we're able to spam the teleport button every single frame. And by doing this, for whatever reason, it just completely bypasses the game's teleport cooldown timer. So we just get to zoom across the map like crazy.
Yeah, so right here so this is another like quick cutscene. It's, if you've seen any trailers for the game, you've definitely seen this. Yeah, so now this guy's gonna come over and stun stick us, and that's the end of the first chapter. The first map. And so now here is going to be the first instance of the height adjust, and this is going to be a height adjust up. So if you want to explain that real quick.
So what he's going to do is he's going to crouch down, and then there's an accessibility feature in the game that allows you to press a button to stand up or crouch in case you can't do that in real life. But we're able to, while he's crouching, he will hit stand. He will then stand up in real life afterwards and get double the amount of height going up, which allows him to get up outside of the van. And for whatever reason in this game, whenever you go through a floor or a ceiling, the game will bring up the orange barrier to tell you to go back in. But if you just pause and unpause the game, it will just forget, and it will just let you stay out of bounds. Now,
here I'm waiting for an audio cue, and then I'm just gonna scoot my way over here.
Yeah, the trigger to load this next area is to have the grenade explode. Normally it explodes during a cutscene, but instead we can just walk over and activate it ourselves to do it faster. So a little bit of out of bounds movement, then a height adjust to get back in bounds. We don't want to wait for this ladder to come down because it's part of a timer, so instead we just go up on this fence and we can get past it anyways. We have to wait a second for an invisible wall there, and then we come over and we're at Russell's lab. And this is going to be pretty much the only point where we're just going to be waiting around for a little bit.
Yeah, so all we have to do real quick is I just want to explain how this cutscene works and how we got it to start. We're just going to quickly put this here. We have to look at him and wait for the audio. All right, so the cutscene has started now. I also put this here because a little bit later in the cutscene he's going to ask for it. But you guys can do donations now because we have a bit of time.
All right, we got a pretty big donation in right here. We got $235 from
Who's it?
Time.
Oh, heck.
Buffett Time says accessibility matters in all software, including video games, and that is the truth.
Heck yeah.
What they will do is take them by train from here. This is Eli
And also take another time to another second to plug in incentive coming up after this run. We got Super Mario World with the sandbar attempt, so be sure to check that.
Well, one of us, me, will have to stay here for this plan to work.
All right.
We're getting something up on the whiteboard here.
Also leads out of City 17 through the
I'm very bad at spelling, so if this is incorrect, please ignore it.
you take your train, get there before this train, and hack into the controls.
I think that was right.
I mainly live off of the spell check, so I usually get it really close
agree.
and then just right click and fix it.
Anyways, in a second here, Russell should finally be done his little speech.
Yeah. Yeah, so right here. So we're just going to wait until this opens up, and then we're going to put our hands into these, and we can actually get to them before they actually are fully extended, because the hitbox for it is just already there.
Yeah. And now, when he comes down here, he's going to have to do the little tutorial for the gravity gloves where he just picks things up. And once he's done that, what's happening right now, back upstairs, is Russell is actually going through an animation where he goes and sits in his chair and kind of is supposed to look up at you. However, you'll notice that we didn't give him enough time to finish that animation, so he just threw the gun before he was ready to throw it. However, for whatever reason, he also throws you ammo. However, he actually won't throw you ammo until his animation is ready to throw you the ammo. And since the animation, if you're fast enough, is a fixed amount of time, it means that essentially everything since once you get to Russell's lab is just an auto-scroller. But now we're finally out of that auto-scroller.
Yep.
And on to Chapter 2.
Thanks, Russell.
And everyone should be donating, because this is a really good charity that people should be supporting. Just remember that.
I know.
Also, thank you for everyone for all the donations so far. Ooh, okay. So, Aura. So coming up on, we're coming up on Chapter 2. So this is where things are going to start to actually really speed up, because we're about to get to the Alyx, which is the last item we actually need to pick up. We're going to skip the shotgun, the assault rifle, and the flashlight, because we don't need any of those. So I'm just currently setting up my play space again just to be ready so I can do the next section a little bit faster. And also I can just teleport into this right here, and it just keeps smearing the screen basically.
And I'm headed on foot.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah.
some reason.
All right, or you can take
Alright, so,
over.
Yeah, Chapter 1's over. It's like 25% of the run. But now we are on to Chapter 2. What you'll see him do here is if he grabs onto this handle here and then continuous walks, he just goes right through the gate for some reason. Just quickly solves the puzzle. Once again, do the same thing here. Just grab, pull forward, and immediately walk through. And then we're coming up to one of the first big skips in the game, which is hatch skip. So what he's going to do here is height adjust down and then crouch underneath the hatch. And now he's going to spin around, as you can see on the webcam there, around his room, constantly turning his play space so that he gets closer to the end of the hatch every time. And then once he gets to the end of the hatch, you just had to height adjust back up in bounds, and we're already done that map.
And right there, if you notice, there was a little arrow. That was just me. There's a piece of software called, if you want to explain it real quick.
Yeah, there is something called OVR Advanced Settings, and it has an option that allows us to see how far we have spun in a certain direction so that we don't tangle our wire up. So we can... Oh.
Ignore that.
Guess you gotta pick up an extra bit of ammo just in case. So yeah, when you go up here, we do a quick teleport down here, except we stop right by that barnacle because for some reason, if you quick teleport by it, when you get to the very end, it will suddenly just pick you up again and teleport you all the way back to the barnacle. Doing a quick height adjust under the train to get past that area. Oh. wasn't loaded because had the barnacle earlier. Yeah. We don't need this much ammo. Oh, and clipping through the gate again. We don't need this much ammo, but it's very easy to accidentally just have your hand be reached behind your back and then grab and drop some without realizing.
Yeah, and then we need one clip like really later on in the game. So might as well, since it's a marathon, be safer.
And then just height adjust under this gate. It's like a second faster than actually opening it normally. Quickly go through here. We obviously know the answer to the puzzle already. Who needs to solve that? And just a bunch of quick teleports all around through this hallway until we get to Vortskip. And so the Vortigaunt here we don't want to listen to him talk because that's very long. So we height adjust underneath his door and get into his room, climb up on his crates here, and then we use a height adjust to get out of bounds. Now, the load area is right over here. However, none of the textures actually load in. However, the collision is all still here. It doesn't load in until the Vortigaunt opens a door. Oh, did you fall?
Yeah, I accidentally fell off there. If you want to explain that as well.
Yeah, he's traversing around on invisible geometry, and so you kind of have to just know where to go. Unfortunately, he did miss there and fall into a pit. Luckily, he did actually open his menu before he died, because if you die, you have to wait like 5 seconds or so for it to pull up the load menu. So yeah, trying this again, getting up on the crates.
Ooh. Did I not height adjust? Oh, there we go. Okay, that was interesting. Sometimes Vortigaunt does that to you.
Yeah, so now he's back here. So once again, this geometry isn't loaded because the Vortigaunt hasn't opened the door yet, so he will traverse around on invisible geometry, and when he gets over top of the load area, he's going to height adjust down and then kind of move his head over to get his head right into the load area, and he'll be able to load in the next zone.
And there we are. We're in Chapter 3, and we're going to see something really interesting right here.
Yeah, so this glitch that's about to come up is called a zero zip, and what happens is if you set your movement type to shift, and then you just jiggle the hell out of your thumbstick, the game freaks out and just sends you to 000 on the map for some reason. And on some maps this is useful, on others it isn't, but here it happens that 000 is out of bounds, but on a place that we were able to stand, so we don't actually die instantly. Sometimes it just sends you like right into a death pit. But here we know exactly where we're going, so we do some out of bounds traversal to make it to the load room for this area, and we skip the flashlight and shotgun in the process.
Ooh, I actually hit some incorrect geometry out here. It's a little bit hard since it's completely black out here, but there we go.
Yeah, and then some quick teleports to get around, and this is the load room right here. So he just has to height adjust back into the room.
There we go.
And there.
Ooh. Now we're going to do another zip, and this one's actually the most interesting because of the effects of it. Saves insane amount of time.
I think this might be one of the biggest time saves.
Yeah, this alone.
Yeah, so what we're going to do here is this zip is a bit different because 000 is actually way out of bounds off in the distance in the death plane. However, when we zip right at this position, we actually fly straight through the load room, as you can see right here. Since we were on our way to going to 000, when we spawn in on the next map, it's actually going to spawn us in at 000 on that map, which by absolute sheer luck on that map happens to be in bounds at the end of the map, which is just so funny and dumb. But anyways, this puzzle here is randomly generated, so we have to try to quickly figure it out.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, sometimes you get easier puzzles than others, but
the best is when they're very separated. Sometimes they're interlinked. Other times they're super separated, so you can within half a second be like, oh, you just gotta do this real quick. Usually they're pretty fast, as you see right there. Ooh, there we go. Just had to grab this real quick. Now, when I come back over here, I'm just going to pull this up, wait till it's fully extended, then put that in. If you try and put it in before it's fully extended, the issue is that it will you'll put it in, and do an animation, and then it'll fully retract itself, which is very annoying.
You have to pull it out again, so it's just quicker.
So now I'm gonna grab this is gonna break off, and then there's gonna be a whole tense scene. But so if you remember, 000 is right out there. So if we want to get back here quick, why don't we just do a 000? 000 zip, you know?
Wait 15 seconds or so for that door to open, but just zero zipping does it a little bit faster.
Yeah. So here we just hold this until the train hits that. Now, while this train is happening, we're just going to switch back to continuous movement because that's what we want to do. We're going to reload this gun just for later use. And just to get ready for what's going to happen next, I pull out the Alyx. And so this is going to crash down and white out our screen. During that whiteout, we actually teleport to a different area of the map. And right when that happens, we can teleport, put that there. And now I'm just going to traverse my way over here. I'm going to do a height adjust down. Or if you want to go.
So, yeah, we're skipping the cutscene for Eli here. And so normally he would be in that big chamber there. By doing this, there's actually a little trigger that we almost hit. We get very close to that will make it so you can no longer save your game because the game doesn't want.
Hello?
Are you going to go out?
Are we still live?
Oh. Oh no, my internet went out for a second.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was mine.
Yeah, no, that was my internet.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, I don't know what you missed there, but anyways, chapter 4, I guess we're on to here. So chapter 4, we were able to just really quickly skip right through that gate there because they wanted to give us like a little sneak peek of like, oh, here's the end of the map. Except normally you'd have to go through that whole subway. No, we're just gonna go right under, and we're already done that chapter, quickest chapter in the game.
Yeah. And right after it is the quickest map in the game.
Yeah. So this map, the spawn room, happens to be just directly above the load for the next area. So we just hided us down, and boom, this is the room for the load. So we just hided us back into the room, and we're already done that map. Like what, 10 seconds or so?
Yeah, it's so like the two like quickest maps and like the fastest chapter are just like right back to back. It's just bam bam. So we're like, this is a part of the run where you get a little bit of a break before you get to this area, which is quite difficult.
So normally you're supposed to go way down into this basement and then get to an elevator that'll bring you up. But instead, we're just going to use this barrel here and put it down. And instead, we're going to scale the building. Because going down there is slow. Oop. So yeah, we're getting on a bunch of places where the game isn't really supposed to allow us to stand, but it does for some reason. So all this rubble here and whatever combine things. A lot of this, it will kill you if you stand on it. Like there's some ledges that are just absolutely identical that where it will kill you, even though one right beside it won't. So weird things happen there, and then he just grabs onto the ladder because when you grab a ladder, it shoots you up to the top of the ladder, which brings him back in bounds. And then he grabs this table while going into the load because it will be needed for the next area.
Yeah, and so during this, I'm also going to be, if you see, you can see them holding down the triggers. So when the next area loads, we need to make sure that we're still holding on to the table so that it's still in our hands so we don't have to go back and pick it up.
Yeah. So now he's going to hide us out here with the table, pausing the game and bringing his hands up because that will allow him to bring the table with him. And then this is our first instance of a save load. What he does here is he wasn't high enough up out of bounds for the game to allow him to teleport around. So if you save the game and load it, it will basically try and place you on the closest ground below where your head is, which happens to be the ceiling out of bounds. So now he's actually fully out of bounds and is able to teleport around to this area right beneath this hallway and use the table to get just enough height to reach his head into the hallway and do a save load.
Ooh.
If you are short, that is a very hard trick to do, but
there's ways to get it by like jumping in other ways if you're shorter, but it does help to be like a little like 5'10" or something or higher.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here he's going to just do a quick hide us down, and this is the load room right there. Just crawls right forward to it. There's a pit that you can fall into if you go too far to the side, so he just has to make sure to go like directly straight towards it.
Yeah, and so now we're coming up on the last last map of chapter 5, which this is the longest chapter, as you can probably tell.
4 maps, which is the longest of any chapter. So he's going to do another 0-zip here, but the 000 is out of bounds. So halfway through the 0-zip, he's going to teleport down, and he'll land on the floor below, and this is later in the map. So now that he goes back, there's some combine. This is like one of the few points that they actually attempt to fight us, but we're not going to fight them because we're playing on story difficulty.
Apparently we are.
Oh.
I don't know how I mess it up.
Yeah, oh well.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you're quick enough, you can get by without worrying about those guys, but yeah, we're on story difficulty, so it really doesn't matter if they shoot us a bunch because they really don't do that much damage, but if you fall down, they might actually be able to get enough damage on you, so that's why he had to kill them. But other than that, we're going to go around up onto this windowsill here and do a height adjust up and just kind of make it over onto this ledge. And this is a later part of the map, so now he can go right over to this door, and this is the loading area to chapter 6.
Yeah. So if you mess it up, if you kill them quickly, it's like a 20-second loss. The thing right there is it's actually pretty easy to accidentally like just jiggle your stick, you'll fall down or whatever. So, but if you do it correctly, then it's 20 seconds faster than killing them. Or a little bit less, I'm not sure.
Okay, so chapter 6, this is actually something pretty new. I think it was only in the past few days this was found, but we can do a extended jump through this wall, go down here, and then do another extended jump through this wall right here. And we used to have to kind of go out of bounds and around, but that was much, much quicker. And here he's going to do something called a prop drop, which is he's going to place the prop below his feet, let go, and then the game attempts to make you stand on top of that barrel. But the game doesn't want you to like kind of fall actually in game because you can get motion sick. So it kind of just leaves you there, and it leaves you with enough or a close enough distance so that you can actually teleport down to the floor below. Because normally it was too far and it would kill you. And then here we just use the roof there to kind of like just make it into the load area to Chapter 7.
Yeah. Normally you'd have to go through an entire like combat scene and a bunch of different things, but we can just do a quick few teleports and just get right up here.
Yeah. So now is Jeff, and Jeff is a very long chapter, but it is a one map chapter. So we were able to go up and height adjust out using this pipe. There is a faster, newer method to do this, but it is ridiculously hard and
not very marathon safe for me yet.
Yeah. So but you'll see he's just going to traverse around the out of bounds area here because he knows where to go. But the new method is you do a 0 zip right away, and it places you way out of bounds, like way far away from anything.
You can't see anything.
Yeah. Not actually dead. And then you have to do the thing he did at Hatch Skip where he kind of like spins around his room and turns his play space over and over for almost a full minute. And then, I don't usually get that, but I accidentally, again, when you're out of bounds, a lot of the areas we go, we specifically try and avoid death triggers. Yeah.
So, like, if you're going around here and you don't know what you're doing, you can easily die. But sometimes there are little, like, spots right here, like, where there still is a death trigger, you just gotta be a little bit careful. But I accidentally, like, just barely moved my hand at the end, which made it become a death trigger right as I was letting go of the teleport.
Yeah. So, yeah, the new Jeff Skip, he does the spin with his play space around for almost a full minute until he finally gets to some invisible geometry that's extremely rocky so that you can't actually, like, tell where you are, and you have to find just the right spot to actually height adjust back in bounds. And once you're in bounds, everything is still invisible, and then you have to find the way through the rest of the map to the load area. So it's very, very difficult, and we're not going to quite do that right now just because of how hard it is.
I think I tapped continuous movement by accident. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right back here. It's just a couple seconds lost. Who cares?
Anyways, coming up in a second, there's 3 batteries you normally have to go get over in a side room. But instead, they're just going to spawn right by the receptacle that we're supposed to be putting them in. This is probably done because the devs didn't want to have to like go get the battery every time they were testing this area. So instead, they just put those test batteries there.
Yeah, they would probably just start up the map and then teleport themselves there. And it's like, okay, now let's test the end sequence.
Yeah. And since we skipped most of the earlier parts of the map, we didn't hit the trigger that was supposed to get rid of those batteries, so they were still there and we're just able to use them. Anyways, we finally see Jeff now. So we have to close and open this trash compactor, or else Jeff won't react to it for some reason later.
Now, once he's going to break this fully, and then once that's done, you just wait a little bit. I throw that there because he's all sound. Now he notices me, and now we're going to say, hey, Jeff. Come here, Jeff. See, he's our friend, and we're just asking him to go back into his little playpen.
Yeah, he's our friend until he decides to do his bashing on the console animation right outside the door, nowhere near the console, and
Yeah.
That happens to me constantly, and I swear to God, nobody else ever gets it.
I've gotten that once, I think.
I've gotten it 10 times at least. More.
Yeah. Also, that guy right there, we never met him because we skip, like, ever seeing him, so he stays with you the entire chapter and like talks to you as like a bit of a comedic relief and like whatnot, but we never see him. Also, now in here, normally you would have a flashlight, but again, we skipped that, so it's very dark in here.
Yeah, you may have also noticed there was actually no plug on the hole there, but there was still collision. It's just we skipped the trigger to actually load its textures. Yeah,
you'll notice that throughout a lot of this is we skip a lot of triggers, and therefore the game looks a little weird.
Yeah. Next glitch coming up here is there's a door or a gate that it has a little like battery receptacle, and you have to throw a battery in it to unlock the gate. But for some reason, if you just go up to the gate and just walk into it, it just opens. The lock just disappears. Like you can literally look at the lock and it just goes away. It doesn't even like fall off.
I grabbed that health because of the barnacle.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Also, yeah, I was about to zip there, I think, but I managed to catch it like just barely as it was starting.
I didn't see that. Yeah, so here he just is able to walk up out of bounds. Like there's not even anything special going on there. You literally just go up out of bounds. And for some reason, there's just a giant plane that you're able to teleport along. There are areas where you will die, but we know exactly where to go, so it doesn't really matter. And we get to this area at the end here, which has the load room.
Yeah, so you just mantle up and then you're just out of bounds. Like there's nothing special you're doing. And then we just know the path we need to get to and like where not to go to like hit death triggers, just to get around to where we need to. Because again, we're on a bunch of geometry that at some points isn't loaded or is loaded, but since it's just a ceiling, it doesn't have a top texture, so it's a little bit difficult to see where you're going sometimes.
Alright, so now we're going to just kill this guy and open this up. There will be some combine here in a second and some antlines. We're just going to skip past all of them. Once we go into this room here by the stairs, it will try and like clean up everything behind you, so it'll despawn all of them so we don't have to deal with them anymore. And then he's going to height adjust up just to make it through this little like crack in the fence to make it to the other side, skipping a whole scene in there. And then he goes up on this little roof here, this light, just areas you're not supposed to be. And we're going to get to this catwalk a little earlier than you're supposed to, and if he teleports at just the right spots, he will skip the trigger to spawn all of the antlines, so he doesn't have to worry about those inside this room. Once again, going across just tons of things you're not supposed to be teleporting on to get to this room. Height adjusting around, eventually getting back in bounds. And then here, he has to move backwards a little bit towards this barnacle, because otherwise you won't hit the trigger to load this whole area, so all this area will be invisible out here. And then once he gets through under the fence, he just quickly does a quick teleport all the way to the end, does an extended jump through the door, and we're done this chapter.
Ooh, there we go. That was actually pretty decent.
Do you have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, we got $10 from Tony Ogwat saying, Buffett time. When's Hotline?
That's a good question, Tony. Soon. TM. All right, so now we're on chapter 10, and do you want to... Actually, I can just say it. So right up here, I just come over here to this barrel. We do a quick height adjust. Now, we just do a save load, and we're going to be right under this ladder you see right there. If you're a bit too far to the right, you'll actually go up and then be stuck, but we know exactly what we're doing here. And now, so since we were height adjusted, once we load back in, I'm going to grab onto the ladder. It's going to pull us all the way up. I'll still be height adjusted, though. And that might sound like it'd be not useful. However, it just so happens that allows us to come right over here and teleport right onto these pipes, saving a few seconds. Now we come over here. I'm going to kill him. That's why we needed the last little bit of ammo. Now, just got to hit this little teleport, and that saves a little bit of time instead of going around ourselves and having to interact with more AI.
Yeah, now he just stands on this little tiny bit of barbed wire, which I think is like one of the funniest teleports that actually lets you stand there.
Yeah.
And then gets to these levers, and now we're basically at another point.
It's like about the size of like your fingernail, basically.
Yeah. You're really on your toes there.
Yeah, the game, whatever the logic is, I mean, of course, most people will never ever find these, but it's so funny to find like these weird places you can just for some arbitrary reason like teleport to.
Yeah. So he's just gonna spam all these levers as quick as he can. There's some triggers with the audio, with the dialogue that's going on, where after a line of dialogue is finished, it will wait for you to pull another lever, and then we'll do the next line of dialogue. But we just keep spamming them all so we can kind of get it as quick as possible once the dialogue ends.
I think there's supposed to be something there. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, maybe a like giant floating alien ship thing. Possibly.
Yeah, and it's almost as if a lot of things were spawned in that you don't normally see. Oh, and also explosion just appears out of nowhere. I don't know how that happened.
Yep.
Because we skipped one of the triggers that loads the vault there, so there's supposed to be a giant structure, and then it falls, and it's big explosion.
I mean, the force field is still there.
Yeah, everything except for the like actual thing itself. Okay, so do you want to explain this second map?
So, normally, before like a couple weeks ago, we would have done another kind of go down, height adjust under, and like spin around like how we did a hatch skip. But now that we know extended jumps exist, we're gonna do like 4 or 5 extended jumps, actually maybe more than that, maybe closer to like 6 or 7 extended jumps throughout this map to basically just make our way towards the end of the map. So yeah, he's just gonna keep extended jumping. Oh, and do one height adjust here.
I do one height adjust there just because it's safer, and since this is a marathon, I want to go for the safer. And
so
then
just keep extended jumping through all these walls. There's a bunch of invisible walls here he's gonna extended jump through. There's one here. There's another one by the laser.
And there we go. That was actually really good.
Yeah. That was actually, yeah, that was quick. And it skips the whole Strider fight that we used to have to do that has the super broken gun that never lets you pull it properly and will always end my run.
Do you want to explain why I'm standing very still?
Oh yeah, if you move like too far to the sides, you just die. It like the game is like you better sit still in this laser. I've even had times where I will get to the top of the laser and then it will just play a death noise and load me into the next area anyways. I don't know why. It seems to really like to kill you sometimes.
Yeah.
T-posing.
Yeah.
You're only half on cam. We
Oh,
see
dang.
one half of you T-posing.
Well, I couldn't move to make it look better. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're on to chapter 11, the last chapter. So we're getting real close to the end. And right here, we're just going to start off by doing a height adjust. Do a quick
so
height adjust.
The
Yeah.
000 for this map is right by the end, but it's a fair bit underneath the ground. So he's going to do a height adjust up and then do a 0-zip. And the height adjust gives him just enough height to be inbounds where he can do a save load, and that will place him actually on the catwalk there so that he can get up into the load room, which was right in front of him.
Yeah, and so because of where 000 is, normally this door that's going to be right next to us would be open, but it's not because we skipped the little trigger that's actually opens it, which is a little bit further. That's why right when I got back in, I teleported backwards so that we can go forwards and hit the teleport, the trigger to open the door.
Yeah, and now we just have to wait a second here for like a little cutscene to play before the load starts.
Yep. And so this is the last chapter. I'll say when the time ends on the glass breaking, but I also say it myself, so just get ready on time. So just need to come over here as quickly as possible. Then it's just a little waiting scene. And so once my hands start to go white, once I grab onto this, it will overload all the circuitry or whatever and explode. And then that's time. And time.
There we go.
So, real quickly, I did a height adjust. You'll see why in a second. What was the time on that run?
It's still going on the stream, but I'm gonna
No.
say it was around like
I
a 30,
actually
50.
just opened up the streaming caught it, and it looked like it was 30:17.
Oh, that's actually pretty decent for RTA.
Yeah.
So real quickly, I just want to say thank you to Midwest Speed Fest for accepting this run, and for people donating for the donation incentive. Please keep donating. This is a really good cause, so please keep all the donations coming in. Also, quick shout outs to, of course, my commentator Auraboy here. Also to Dilly, Syke, Keegan, and the rest of the speedrunning community for Half-Life Alyx. And also shout outs to Lifeless2838 and Durko for working on the auto splitter that we use to do the timing method. And also, if you guys have any interest in VR or anything Source 2 or Half-Life Alyx related, please go to discord.gg/sourceruns. And we can answer any questions you have about Half-Life Alyx or anything related to that. And other than that, thank you for watching, and again, please keep the donations rolling in.
Yep, see ya.
What?